And guardians to our first ever remote back to school night. My name's Lola Bauman. I teach your students Spanish 3. A little bit about myself first. This is my 18th year teaching at Overland, and I really like it here. I really like teaching Spanish 3. This is a level where your students start to kind of get more confident in their Spanish. It's kind of where they become intermediate students. After this year, if your student passes, they're able to sign up for Spanish 4 honors if they're not a senior. And then after Spanish 4, if, for example, your student is a freshman, they could take Spanish, AP Spanish language their junior year and AP Spanish literature here their senior year. So we have plenty of advanced Spanish classes here, and Spanish 3 is the way to prepare for them. And personally, I began learning Spanish in high school. I was able to live in Ecuador and in Spain and travel a lot to a bunch of Spanish-speaking countries. So it's exciting for me to think about where learning Spanish will take your child. I'd like to show you some of the things that are on our Schoology page. If you go back to that main page that you see, there is the syllabus there with a lot of information about the class. If you haven't read that yet, you're more than welcome to. As we get more vocabulary throughout the year, when we start a new unit, I'll put all the vocab in this folder. But your students are also getting vocab day by day in class, week by week in class. And that's where I'd like to talk about these folders right here. So for example, we have this week's as an example, and I will put a folder for each week of school we have with the dates on it. And in this folder, they'll have their quick Monday review lesson. They'll have a folder for their in-person class and a folder with information for our remote class. If your student is coming to class and feels like class is, moving at a logical pace for them and their notes are complete, they may never need to look at this in-person folder. The materials in there are just in case the student is absent. They can complete the work in there, the warm-ups in there, notes, etc. And if a student is absent, they just need to complete their work and turn it in within a week. If work does come in after the due date, they can get half credit for that. And this folder is also available if your student forgot their notes or their notes don't look quite right from class and they want to double check, or maybe class went a little fast and they want to go over everything again to review. This is a folder that your student will be opening and using every week. Their remote class assignments will be completed after our in-person class. And the assignments will be always due at the beginning of our next in-person class. That means if a student wants to write their assignments for the remote class on their own paper, coming soon. Sorry, not quite ready with that. I'll usually post these around Thursday too for their remote class. So if they want to write their assignments on a piece of paper and turn in that paper in the beginning of their next in-person class, that's fine. If they want to email me their work, that's fine as well. They can turn their assignments in early, but if they turn them in late, they do earn half credit. All right, what else? In addition to these things, your student has 2 hours of studying to do a week. Mostly they're going to be studying their vocab notes and going over any grammar notes so they can memorize the new grammar stuff. To study vocabulary, I think it's good if students write the words, make flashcards, test themselves on our Quizlet website, or make tests for themselves, or all of the above. And I always say, you know the word when you can look at it in English and write it correctly in Spanish from memory. So definitely help your student if you think they're going to have some trouble with their homework requirement. I recommend helping them make a little study schedule. Maybe they study for 20 minutes a night. Daily reinforcement is super helpful if they can study in smaller chunks every day and test themselves. If we do go completely remote, I will probably set up something very similar on Schoology to what I have now. I'll be clear about due dates. I think, like I do now, I would prefer to post one assignment in the beginning of the week and another assignment toward the middle of the week. But I will certainly follow whatever parameters the district or Overland set for remote learning if we're entirely remote. And that is pretty much the class in a nutshell. I appreciate you tuning in. If you would like to share any comments, please fill in the Google form, the Back to School Night form. If your contact information on Schoology is up to date and you don't have any questions or comments, you do not have to fill out that form. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a good night.